Hello, everybody, and welcome back. This is the Uncensored Anime Podcast, episode 33, and we are your hosts. I'm David, we got Jerry, we got Kenny, and today we have a review episode along with some news. We are going to be talking about Record of Ragnarok, which just hit Netflix a few days ago of this recording. And, we got some, we're pretty excited to talk about some news as well. Some of our... one of my favorite series in Shonen Jump got canceled. But we have a lot of news. So Jerry, why don't we get right into it? Take it away. Start us off, big boy.
Okay. So as of today, we are just a few days away from the reveal of the Chainsaw Man trailer. So as of this recording, and most likely by the time that this video goes live, or by the time that you're listening to this, the trailer should already be out. At that point in time. Yeah, I think this will be out the same day that the trailer comes out, or a day before. But beside the point, next time that we get together and record, the trailer will be out, and all of us will be very hyped for the new Chainsaw Man anime. If you don't know what Chainsaw Man is, we have hyped it up many times here on this podcast, but it is one of the most hyped new Shonen Jump animes to come out. It comes right out of Weekly Shonen Jump, the most popular shonen magazine in the world. Boys, are you hyped for Chainsaw Man anime?
Words can't describe.
Are you talking about the Hero of Hell?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's him.
Chainsaw Man?
Yeah, Chainsaw Man. Yeah.
Chainsaw Man? The Hero of Hell?
Yeah, that's the one. Uh-huh.
Pretty excited.
Yeah.
Denji's the best protagonist I've ever met in my entire life.
He just wants to touch some boobies.
So Jerry, will this be like the real video? Because I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube where it's like, oh, Chainsaw Man trailer dropped, and I click on it and it's like poop sock. So
I really hope people aren't still falling for that shit. That's so funny. Mappa themselves announced that at their anniversary they're doing this. I believe this upcoming week is their anniversary, and they're doing like a big stage show, a bunch of announcements, updates, yada yada. But they assured they would be at least revealing the first teaser or trailer for the Chainsaw Man anime, which I believe is supposed to be out before the end of 2021, is what we know. But I don't think we have a solidified date. I could see it being a winter show, so December. That's my guess. I don't think it's going to hit in fall, but we'll see.
All right. Well, I'm excited.
But the one thing that I keep telling people is that what if it's 3D? What do we do if it's 3D?
Well, if it's 3D, that's fine. It just has to be good. Like, right?
Is it fine though?
No, it's not fine.
No. Well, I'd imagine it looking similar to not Attack on Titan.
I want it to look similar to Devilman Crybaby. I think that is the
style. That'd be awesome.
I think that stylistic choice would...
Hosoda, is that the name of the director that does that? Mamoru Hosoda,
I would like it to be similar to that animation. And I think that they can take that sort of artistic liberty because Chainsaw Man is so energy-filled. I don't know. I don't know a good word for it, but like it's so frenetic.
Frenetic.
It's so frenetic. I'm just gonna keep saying that word and act like I know what it means.
I misspoke.
Define frenetic.
Frenetic is a word that I definitely know what it means.
Fast and energetic in a rather wild and uncontrolled way.
That's Chainsaw Man.
That's Chainsaw Man.
And I have to correct myself because I googled it. Mamoru Hosoda is not the director I was thinking of. Hosoda is known for Boy and the Beast, Summer Wars, those types of movies. Masaki Yuasa is the director I was thinking of. He's Devilman Crybaby. Also did Japan Sinks. Ping Pong the animation, that sort of.
See, style. I think that sort of animation style is ideal. Mm-hmm. What they give us is what they're going to give us.
Right.
You know, the show we're going to talk about today.
If it were to be, oh wait, what, Kenny?
The show we're going to talk about today just, hurt me. Whenever I know how good that show could have been.
Chill.
So, I just,
yeah.
We have a lot to say about Record of Ragnarok.
I will be happy with whatever they give me, but please, give me a good Chainsaw Man anime.
It's weird because, like, when I think of good 3D anime, the ones that I've personally seen, it's like Beastars, Dorohedoro, and Ajin are the three that, like, pop out in my head as, like, moderately well done. I like, especially Beastars.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, I know people still hate it. It's hard for people to accept like something different, but I think Beastar's style works with this sort of 3D
Oh
look.
yeah.
But
Yeah, I agree.
I do think people would be quite disappointed if Chainsaw Man was full 3D. I think that they're expecting a really clean, really crisp-looking 2D animated series, similar to Jujutsu Kaisen. I think that's what the expectation is, right?
Yeah.
Like, that it's going to look like, maybe not exactly like Jujutsu Kaisen, but in that same realm of, like, high-quality 2D animation that's really, like, pushing the bar. So, I'm excited. It's just weird to me that, like, I don't know. You guys think they're just going to run it?
I hope so. I
Yeah.
hope they just go straight through.
Yeah.
Especially Chainsaw Man is like some
Is it gonna
chapters
run
of
it?
Chainsaw Man. I would say like some stretches of chapters could be, not even 2 minutes in an episode.
Yeah.
Like I think
Especially in the later half of the later part of the
yes,
series.
bro.
It's just like no words, it's just straight action. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that.
I mean, I agree.
Yeah.
might be a 24 episode, like 2 core.
I'm thinking, I think that in my mind, like a 5-chapter an episode pace for
Or
about
26
25
episodes.
episodes is what I'm
Yeah.
guessing. It's something about a 5-chapter an episode pace and a full 25 episode arc is what I would imagine. So
Yeah.
2 sets of 25 would be I'm thinking 2 groups of 12 episodes, so 12, 24. So I'm thinking 24 episodes, 96 chapters,
Yeah.
5-chapter an episode pace. That's my guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But think that they are going to have to make some cuts a little bit along the way. I think there'll be small things that they'll have to kind of adjust. 5-chapter an episode pace is just really, really fast. Like it's just a very fast pace. It worked. Only a few shows I know of like have made 5-chapter an episode pace work, and it's like JoJo's, right? Like JoJo's worked with a 5-chapter an episode pace because of the what it is. But that's my guess.
Yeah, but
It
you
would
gotta
be
thi-
interesting.
You got to think about some of those later chapters in Chainsaw Man, like for real. Like from
Right, so maybe it's slower in the up, but then you're right, the back half.
The
Yeah,
back
I-
half will be
as in like I think they could do 3 or 4 like normal, and then the back half they might be able to squeeze 7 or 8.
right.
As
Do
long,
more like a 3.
as long as they don't cut any moments between Power, Aki, and Denji, then they can do whatever. But they have to keep those wholesome moments. Like that's
And for me, like, we got to have Makima on screen all the time. It's just Makima.
God.
Chainsaw Man
Dang.
is just a manga about Makima. It has nothing to do with the other characters.
Oh, man.
Jerry, I hate to break it to you, bro. Something happens to her, man.
No, Kenny. I know, I've read
we
it,
won't
but
say
I-
what, but something happens.
My
to her.
my
I do
absolute
wanna-
queen.
I wish that we could talk. I guess whenever Chainsaw Man's over, whenever the Chainsaw Man
Right.
anime is over, somebody get in the comments on that episode and tell me to remind me then, because I want to talk about like I don't know, like Chainsaw Man going forward, and even like some of the stuff that happened in the first part in Chainsaw Man Part 1.
And honestly,
yeah.
by the time the first season, like the first part of or the first part of Chainsaw Man is animated, I wouldn't be surprised if Part 2 is started in the manga.
Yeah, it's got to air concurrently. I think that's something that because
That'll be
anime-
important.
anime
Yeah.
drives manga sales, so he's gonna want more manga to be out.
Yeah, even though the manga's selling just fine without
Just
an
fine.
anime. It's selling just fine
With top
without
5,
an
Jerry?
anime.
I didn't know that
Yeah,
there was
I
a.
believe. Yeah, I mean, we just talked about it last week or whatever, but yeah, it's 4th or 5th. It's 5th, right behind Attack on Titan.
I didn't know that there was a manga. I didn't know that the pages that they print manga on is currently in a shortage because of post-pandemic just production issues.
That's crazy. It doesn't even surprise me though, dude. I hadn't heard that.
The paper that they print manga on is a particular type of paper that is in shortage through production issues through post-pandemic life.
Right.
Which is
Honestly, it's just a
wild.
matter of time, honestly. I'm surprised it's taking this long to
right.
have that happen.
And on the note of a manga that has sold incredibly well without an anime adaptation.
Yep, I know which one you're going to talk about.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
No. What is it, Kenny? I don't know.
Vampire Night.
Oh!
Welcome to the
You did
Vampire
it.
Night podcast,
Yo.
where all we do is talk about Vampire Night here. Vampire Knight is a perfect manga. a
Jerry
perfect
was so
anime.
convinced. He
It
was like, "Wait,
exists
can you?"
perfectly, bro.
Jerry
It's
was
a
like, "Kenny
perfect
knows what I'm
show.
talking about."
I was almost certain Kenny was either going to say the right answer or Vampire Knight, and I had to gamble. I had to gamble on what was coming next. Well, welcome to the Vampire Knight podcast.
Welcome to the Vampire Knight podcast. Please tag it in the comments, guys. Get in the comments.
We keep dropping we need to start sneaking in a little later, Kenny. We've been dropping it
No,
so
I
early.
want
and lately
people
that
to hear the Vampire Knight lately. Okay?
people find
Yeah.
it quick, dude.
Yeah, I mean, what? We're 10
it's
minutes
like
into the episode.
we posted and someone's like, boom, 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 Vampire Knight, 10 minutes, like.
Yeah, I could do it because I know exactly whenever it's gonna happen. So
Kenny, you can't spoil it like that. You gotta let the fans and the people at home, they've got to figure out where the Vampire Knight drop is. But no, I was being serious. Spy Family has still not officially,
yeah,
secretly kind of acknowledged for a second time now that most likely an anime is coming next year. So
Yep.
in 2022. And the first time that this kind of came about is earlier this year, I believe. They accidentally registered like a spyfamilyAnime.com or something, and fans found that. And now this time it was a flautist. No wait, flute. I don't know if it's actually
Flautist.
a flautist.
that's the word.
Is her? But this might
I
be
was
the
in-
person's name.
Oh, I was in band in 6th grade, so I know it's a.
I was gonna say, it says flutist Kokomi. I don't know what that is. That might be a publication. Oh no, I think that's her name. I think her name is flutist. Such a weird name. I don't know.
Maybe
Whatever.
it's a handle online.
The headline reads, Flutist Kokomi mentions Spy Family anime for 2022 in now deleted comment. So, I thought that was kind of interesting.
Which is weird because there's not even like how many. There's like what 40-something chapters out.
It's a monthly though, so they're 50 pages.
Oh.
They're
No,
40.
they're
50
bi-
pages.
Oh,
Well,
bi-weekly.
they're bi-weekly.
Bi-weekly.
They're two... Yeah, but they are 30, 40 pages each time.
Yeah,
Oh.
they're long. They're long chapters. There's easily
Okay.
enough for first season.
I read the article a little bit. She is a flautist. She is a flautist.
See,
Um,
6th grade band had me right.
she is a flaut. I just didn't know if it was like just the title was worded very strangely, but I guess she accidentally mentioned that there was a Spy Family anime coming. Yeah, I think that most likely it's just additional proof that it'll be coming sometime next year. Makes sense. They have chapters every other week, and this series has been selling incredibly well. It was also in our top 10 best-selling anime or manga for 2021 so far. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me that it's getting an anime soon, just like Chainsaw Man. But
Yep.
mm,
Oh, can
I
I,
don't
do
know.
the next? Can I do the next piece of news?
yeah, I guess so, Kenny. Yeah, I mean now that we got through the flautist and Vampire Knight,
The Flautist Vampire Knight. This year's Kodansha Best Manga Award was awarded to my favorite sports anime
No.
that is currently running, maybe all time,
no way.
Blue Rock.
Vampire
And-
Knight. Sorry, I'm just, you got it, Kenny.
No, it was Vampire.
No, I'm just joking.
He got me, bro.
Blue
It's Blue Lock. It's Blue Lock, and so I'm telling you guys, okay? Y'all have heard it.
Kodansha.
Y'all have heard it here first. Blue Lock, the anime, whenever it truly releases, is going to be amazing. It's just going to be amazing.
Wow.
Do you think it'll be next year? Or has it already been confirmed that is getting an anime adaptation?
No, I don't think there's been a confirmation yet, right, Ken?
No, there hasn't been. But it just when Kodansha's like number one, come on, bro.
What about Sweat and Soap? That should be getting an anime pretty
What's
soon.
what's going
Honestly,
on? What'd you just say?
Look at
What was that?
let's not talk about that.
Uh,
What did you say?
Sweat,
Wait, what did
Sweat
you say?
and Soap. The acclaimed manga by
Yeah.
by Kintetsu Yamada.
Oh Lord Jesus Christ!
About a guy who's obsessed with this woman's sweat. Sweat and soap.
Okay. So what's interesting? I just looked up the awards, Kenny. So Blue Lock won it this year. Guess what
Yep.
won it last year?
Chainsaw Man.
No, it's Kodansha only. So that's Shueisha.
Oh,
But-
Spy X Family.
That's also Shueisha.
Was it Fire Force?
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Was it Fire Force, really?
Boys. Kodansha.
Was it Fire Force?
No. I actually
Force?
don't even know if Fire Force might be something else.
Why do I
No,
feel
that
like
is
I'm not?
that is Kodansha.
It is. Okay, so
Kodansha is Weekly Shonen Magazine, bro. You're blowing my damn dick right now, okay?
Shueisha is Weekly Shonen Jump, though. You're thinking of Weekly Shonen Magazine.
I'm thinking of Weekly
Jump are
Shonen
different
Magazine.
things.
That's what I'm thinking. Diamond No Ace was last year's Diamond No Ace.
Now you're in the right. That's
bro.
what
Was
Spy
it
Family-
girlfriend last year,
Oh
bro?
wait, was it Tokyo Revenger? No.
Yes,
Eternity?
David.
Tokyo
Thank you.
Revengers?
Oh,
Okay.
Tokyo Revengers. I was like,
Okay.
come on, Kenny, this is right up your alley, bro. It was Tokyo Revengers.
I thought you were goofing me with girlfriend.
And you
bro.
nailed the other one, David. Year before that was To Your Eternity. So
To Your Eternity, yeah.
kind of impressive that the last three have been pretty massive. Actually, year before that was Beastars. So
And you know, two of those are getting an anime right now. So I'm just saying, you
Wait,
know,
That's-
Quintessential
well-
Quintuplets also won.
oh
year.
yeah, Quintuplet's tied with To Your Eternity for some reason. I'm not sure how that happened.
Guys,
But
You're not
all
sure that
of these-
happened.
Beastars, Quintuplets, To Your Eternity, Tokyo Revengers, all of them are being adapted in anime. Blue Lock just won, so I can only imagine it's got an anime somewhere coming. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And not just that, but in the general category, Blue Period won
Yep,
in
and
2020,
that's
and that
getting an anime.
already confirmed for an anime.
Yep.
Yep. And then you
It's
also
so
have.
good.
I've enjoyed Blue Period, what I've read of it so far, but I'm excited for the anime because we're definitely going to talk about it here on the podcast. But
Yeah.
I'm excited for that. But yeah, Kenny Blue Lock, that's an exciting news, though. I didn't realize they had done the Kodansha Awards for the year already. I
yeah,
was
Blue
trying to
Lock.
figure out what.
Blue Lock is so good. Genuinely, it's my favorite thing to read every week.
What do you think they give those awards out, Kenny?
I don't know. Mail them probably in a. Yeah, they probably.
It must
mail
have. I
'em.
mean, it must have been recent if you were just reading about it. I just can't find like the date of the announcements.
I'm about to say I can actually because he announced it in the in the chapter like a week ago.
Oh, did he? That's interesting.
Yeah,
Manga Award announces winners.
this is so
Whatever.
interesting. Welcome to our podcast where all we do is look up some things.
No. We like to talk about stuff, but we also like to put some news out there, so everybody's like, ha ha ha.
Did you
There was
guys-
another
Oh.
anime that just won an award that I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, chapter 134,
Mhm.
which was released on June 9th.
Mhm.
He put that they won the number one in the Kodansha Awards.
Wow.
45th annual.
Do they get like a monetary award from that, or is it like a trophy, or
I don't know.
I'm assuming just like some kind of like trophy or plaque, like a recognition type thing.
Okay. So on the note of awards, though, I'm sure it's
Okay.
I'm sure it's something like that, though, David. Yeah, I agree.
It's award season.
So there's an award that comes out every year called the Manga Taisho, and I'm not sure what time of year like that comes out. But the way it works is it's an annual Japanese manga award. It's limited to series with 8 or fewer collected volumes, so it can't be like a long running title, right? The nominating committee is composed of staff members from bookstores. Each initially vote for 5 series, and the titles with the top 10 number of votes become the official nominees for the year. Then the second round of voting determines the winner, as well as the second and third place every year. Okay, it's a pretty, to my understanding, it's a kind of a prestigious award, but essentially all manga can be considered for this award every year, so that's pretty interesting. I was looking at sort of the nominees from this year's or 2021's winners. And this just came up because I was watching Golden Kamui, and back in 2016, Golden Kamui won the Manga Taisho Award. So I thought it was kind of interesting. So I was like, oh, let me look at some of the other winners. And so then I landed on this year's group. So some of the manga that got nominated this year were things like Spy Family, Kaiju Number 8, BL Metamorphosis, which we see a lot when we go out and buy manga. But most of the other stuff I'm really not particularly, like, I've never heard of. There's certainly probably series that might be popular later. You know, they're all pretty new. But the one that actually won this year was a manga called Frieren Beyond Journey's End. And it's something I had never heard of until I started looking up this award.
Yep.
I don't know. Let me double check. Yeah, the first volume will be being published in English later this year. So if you're an English reader, it looks like it's coming out in November of this year. So you could be able to pick it up later this year. There's already 5 volumes out there will be a 5th volume out a little bit later this year in Japan. And it runs in Weekly Shonen Sunday, which is another very popular Weekly Shonen Jump magazine. It's where series, we've mentioned it many times here on the podcast, but just to catch you up, it's where series like Fly Me to the Moon, Case Closed, what else? Major Second, Komi Can't Communicate. It's where manga like those run. So it is a traditional manga running in a traditional magazine. So it's really interesting that, which series ended up taking the crown, because, again, it was up against series like Spy Family and Kaiju number 8, which are kind of a big deal. I mean, I'd argue, all of us are into them. So
yeah, especially Kaiju number 8.
Yeah, I like Kaiju and Spy Family a lot. So it's really interesting to see.
Yeah, I like Spy Family a lot too.
I think they're both great. So it's really interesting to hear that this Fryren beat it out. I haven't read any of it yet. Kenny, have you read it? I'm like almost curious.
Wait, what was
it's called Fryren Beyond Journey's End. And I'm like,
spell that?
F-R-I-E-R-E-N. Fryren.
Come on, Kenny. Fryren.
Bullshit, bro. Y'all are acting like this is supposed to be.
Come on, Kenny. Fryren.
Fryren, of course.
It looks interesting. It's a fantasy series. So, it's kind of got that magic and stuff kind of look to it.
Got that magic and stuff.
Magic and stuff. But yeah, that's really interesting to me about the Manga Taisho. Some other notable winners, in case anyone that's listening is curious. Blue Period won in 2020. Astra Lost in Space won in 2019. Beastars in 2018. Golden Kamui in 2016. Silver Spoon back in 2012. March Comes in Like a Lion in 2011.
Tangatsu no Lion, baby.
So, couple pretty notable winners. It's obviously a pretty cool award to win for a mangaka because it's kind of decided by booksellers and people around the Manga Taisho.
Let's hope Blue Lock wins this year. If Blue Lock wins, if Blue Lock cleans it up, bro.
Let me see if Blue Lock
can it even enter? Yeah.
Has ever been nominated. I think it's past the nomination period technically.
Because it's been out too long.
It has to have less than 8 published volumes, and I think it has 9.
I actually think it has 12.
Oh shoot! Okay, I think I'd only seen 9 out and about when I go shopping. So
I'm about to say I think there's 2 more that have been out.
Oh shit! The Wikipedia says 14 volumes.
Oh, so then maybe Blue Lock, baby.
Blue Lock. But yes, that's exciting. Okay, so Blue Lock. Damn, we got on a tangent about Blue Lock and manga and shit.
No, that's
fine.
Welcome to the manga.
A couple other Spitfire notes people might be curious about. Horimiya is getting a special one-shot chapter about Hori and Miyamura after they graduated. So if you watched the anime with us and heard our review, you might be interested in that one-shot chapter because it'll take place after the anime. That's pretty exciting. The Demon Slayer movie is now available streaming on Funimation, so if you haven't watched it yet, go get your ass down and watch it. You should be excited to finally get a chance to watch it.
I haven't watched it.
Mm-hmm. It's now streaming, so if you have a Funimation account, you should definitely check that out. What other Spitfire news is coming out? Okay, I thought this one was interesting, and I'm curious what you guys thought. I saw this going, not viral, but going around. We watched here on the podcast a show called Higehiro at the beginning of the season, right? Context of Higehiro, right? Older man finds a young girl, not young, she was like 17 or whatever, 18.
I think she's 18.
18 on the street, she's run away from home and takes her in, and there's kind of some wholesomeness occurs, yada yada yada. Well, turns out a couple days ago, a Tokyo man was arrested after letting a schoolgirl live with him, like the Higehiro anime. I wanted to hear your boys' thoughts on this. I just can't with some people, dude.
Let me tell you something, Jerry.
Yeah.
People say a lot of things in anime. Today we're going to talk about an anime where Valkyries resurrect human beings to fight in a tournament for the fate of humanity. I watch animes where alien Saiyan guys who have tails turn blonde and shoot waves out of their hands. Some animes are not that ridiculous, but you don't need to repeat what happens in anime, guys. You don't need to try and live your life through anime. Okay, just watch the anime and enjoy it. Okay, don't take in runaway schoolgirls.
Kenny PSA right there.
Bro. Don't do that.
It just blows my mind. It just blows my mind what goes through people's heads. Like, they're like, oh yeah, this. It reminds me of when we were little, and people used to carry around their Death Notes.
Note, yes.
Their fucking Death Notes.
Oh God.
And obviously, people got in trouble for it because what the fuck else are you implying when you write someone else's name in a goddamn Death Note? What are you thinking? Like, obviously, you have an implication there. Like, you're so dumb. So this just reminds me that, don't imitate anime, guys. Like, if you're a grown man and you're listening to this, don't take in some schoolgirl just because, like,
that's some sussy stuff right there. Just don't do that.
That's a sussy baka, dude.
Yeah, it makes them sussy baka, bro. You're a sussy
what
baka,
a
honestly.
sussy baka. Yeah.
It's fucking weird,
More
bro.
notes
That's just
about things
weird.
we've watched here on the podcast. Wotakoi, the manga, is coming to an end after 7 years. I know that got announced just recently.
That was pretty huge.
So that's pretty cool. It's been in serialization for about 7 years, so it's going to come to a conclusion, which is interesting. I wonder if we'll ever get another season of the anime, and if we do, we'll definitely be watching it here, because I think all of us enjoyed the anime. Maybe not enough to read the manga. I know I would not probably read the manga, but
I buy every manga, so I'm gonna get it.
if they
David,
made
bro,
another
you gotta
season,
stop. Okay, this is
Bro.
pause. We gotta have an intervention, okay, guys?
No,
Let me
he
get in
didn't.
the comments.
I found volume 27 of Claymore today, Kenny.
He did. He found it.
I have it all.
He has the full collection.
I am Claymore God.
He found it. He
Everybody
has it.
get in the comments. Tell David to stop buying manga.
He
Whoever
got
tells
it
him
for
not
us.
to, I'll upvote your comment.
God damn it.
Wait, so,
Um,
so there's some Shueisha Weekly Shonen Jump news that we have to talk about.
Uh-oh. What is it, David?
So, if you haven't heard, the acclaimed series Hard Boiled Cop and Dolphin has been axed by Shueisha. It is no longer in the weekly serialization. I don't even know if it got a proper ending. I'm not caught up with Hard Boiled Cop and Dolphin. So, as far as I know, it probably didn't even get a proper ending, so it's just done. That's it.
Yeah.
But-
It's a comedy, too, so.
Yeah, so that's one less comedy in Weekly Shonen Jump. But apparently, there's some news that there will be 2 new series already added that are going to be added in the
There
next
is.
in the 31st and 32nd issues of Shueisha's Weekly Shonen Jump. One is called Red Hood, and the other one is called Neru Boogie Dogyo, which is Neru Martial Arts Traveling. So,
And they both look interesting.
Authors?
I
think they're
so. Minya,
relative
so
new.
yeah, so Yuki Kawaguchi is the mangaka for Red Hood. I don't know if it's their first series. This person, they published a one shot with the same name in Weekly Shonen Jump last year. So I guess the one shot, got them in. And then the Neru Martial Arts Traveling is created by Minya Hiraga, which is
dope.
I don't see anything about this person, so I think this is also a new mangaka in Shonen Jump. So honestly, the Neru art is kind of giving me Tokyo Revengers art style vibes, which is pretty cool. I don't think they're connected in any way. It's just what I thought of when I saw that.
Right.
And Red Hood also seems interesting. So they both, I'm kind of getting like the Neru is probably going to be like a typical battle shonen.
It
And
looked,
then-
it looked
and
like
then
when I saw
Red
it.
Hood might honestly be a little. I'm gonna say it might be a little etchy.
Isn't it about, like, the main character?
It sounds like Red Riding Hood. Yeah.
Red Riding Hood, and
Yeah.
he, like, fights werewolves or some bullshit?
It's the new generation hunting fantasy series takes place in a village where a young man meets a mysterious hunter. So
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. No, I'm
so might be a little battly. Might be a little. This Red Hood character is just super busty. So I'm just getting. There's got to be some etchiness in this.
There's got to be etchy, bro.
There's
There's
got to be etchy. She busty. So
She
yeah.
busty.
So both of these seem interesting. I'm excited to read them.
Yeah, but rest in peace, Hardboiled Cop and Dolphin.
Yeah.
That's a big L. Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I mean, I haven't got to read it yet, but it was one of those ones that was like, oh, I really want to read that. And for the author, this is unfortunate. I think, honestly.
Creator of
I don't know. What
Beelzebub.
do you guys think?
Yeah.
I kind of just wish, honestly, whenever like good series get canceled in Shonen Jump, I feel like they should just put them online. Just
Yeah.
you know, hey, let's just keep having you go to the. You're just gonna be digital
Right.
only,
Yeah.
Right.
which is, I mean, look at Spy X Family. Look at look at tons of manga that are only online and they're doing just fine. So
Yeah. It's just interesting. What do you guys think? I mean, so the author of Beelzebub had one other manga that they published back in. So Ryuhei Tamura is the name of the author. They did Beelzebub from 2009 to 2014. It was their first serialization. For any of you that don't know him, the series Beelzebub was a pretty big hit internationally. Even had a bit of a popularity here in the States. And like I said, ran for about 5 years, which is pretty lengthy for a comedy series in Weekly Jump. Weekly Shonen Jump. So pretty impressive run there. But after that, Tamura got published in 2017 for a story called Hungry Mary. And to my knowledge, it got canned like really fast. I remember it coming out, but I never read it or like checked it out.
Oh, Hungry Mary was that shit one. He like
I guess
switches
so.
bodies with like Marie Antoinette, and then she has to eat cakes or some bullshit.
Dang.
That's like
well,
genuinely the plot of that
Wait,
manga. Okay,
that sounds kind of funny.
mangas get ridiculous plots, but he's like a priest in like a chapel, I think. I'm not looking this up. This is straight from my dome, but I think I remember because I think I read. It's only like 10 chapters.
It's
32.
It's 32 chapters. So you may have only read 10, but it's got 32 total.
Well, it was some
4
bullshit.
volumes.
So basically, Marie Antoinette, I think, she's the let them eat cake bullshit. And so like she gets hungry and then takes over his body. And so then she has to eat some cakes, but she's also like strong or some bullshit, and so she like solves some problems. But it's just they're like
That's pretty. I mean,
I'd read it.
it's like a weird Ranma 1/2 type
yeah.
style.
Legend says that the ghost of a girl stands on the top of an old Catholic church, inhabited by the Sagamiya family. Said family has a hateful rivalry with the Bajogi family, who manage a Taoist temple next door. In the middle of all this, Bajogi Taiga has had a crush on Sagamiya Anne, the demure daughter of the priest since childhood. Little did he know, the Sagamiya are involved in very un-Catholic activities, such as trying to resurrect the spirit of Marie-Therese Charlotte, the food-obsessed daughter of the late French queen Marie Antoinette.
Boom, baby!
And since he has found out, he will have to collaborate, i.e. be the human sacrifice to that end. Nevertheless, just for the ritual, Taiga decides to confess his love to Anna and is struck by lightning bolt the second after. Miraculously survives without a scratch, but somehow finds himself in a body slightly more blonde and feminine. You pretty much nailed the plot, Kenny. Sounds like he gets struck by lightning and switches body was with the great granddaughter of Marie Antoinette.
Listen, this just puts some salt, okay? I'm saying that whenever I do these Unraveled, this is for real. What them fucking bullshit ass mangas are out here telling me, like.
He's trained for this day.
Whenever Aladdin's dad created an entire planet through some bullshit ass power, that it's for real.
Is that magic?
Well, okay, so
that's Maggie. Yeah.
Magi. So Hungry Mary got canceled. Huh?
What's the new manga that he's doing?
Orient.
Oh yeah, I gotta read that one.
Orient. So Hungry Mary got canceled. Sucks. But then 3 years later, Hardboiled Cop and Dolphin, it was running, it was doing well. It honestly, I thought was doing pretty okay, but rumor has it, volume sales were really, really low for the series. And it just sucks because it was doing pretty well in the magazine, so that means it was ranking high enough to keep itself in the magazine, but was not doing well enough to sustain outside of that. So here we are, over a year, or almost a year later since it debuted, which in my mind means that for the most part, usually manga is safe. If it makes it past the 30 chapter mark, usually that means it's mostly safe. It's I don't know. In my mind, it's like if it makes it past 30 chapters, Jump will usually let it find some sort of natural conclusion. It might get a little bit of a push towards a conclusion, but it's harder to just have something just axed, you know? So I'm surprised they just axed Hardboiled Cop and Dolphin without pretty much any knowledge. It was just like, boop, and gone.
So they take into account manga sales in addition to their ranking in Weekly Shonen?
I think that has become a lot more prevalent in the last few years because of the low sales of the magazine itself. So to decide if a manga should keep running or if it's boosting the sales of the magazine, they have to look at how much it's selling outside of that. And so I think that's how they're trying to gauge some of that. But again, it's hard. But the mangaka's he's only 41, Ryuhei Tamura. It's very possibly he could come back with a fourth serialization. But it's really tough to have 2 serializations after something very popular get axed, you know? It's one thing to say, like, you wrote a complete story, but to have 2 series canceled back-to-back, essentially, is probably pretty tough on him to think, like, it's just tough to bounce back from, in my mind.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
That's unfortunate.
So, I feel for him. I hope he comes back. I think he's funny as fuck, IMO. Like, I love Beelzebub. I haven't read Hungry Mary or Hardboiled Cop and Dolphin, but
Hardboiled Cop and Dolphin
one of the more funny...
Hardboiled Cop and Dolphin is fucking
You guys
hilarious,
always
bro.
gassed it up, so
Bro,
yeah.
it's
So many moments where I'm like laughing my ass off.
Bro, one of the characters is a dolphin.
Yeah, and that's funny. Is honestly that content, like that alone, is already just too funny to think about. But all right, boys, That's most
That
of
was
the
a lot of
anime
news.
we
That was
got.
a lot of shit ton of news.
We did have a pretty good coverage, and it's mainly because we haven't talked about news in 2 weeks or 2 or 3 weeks. So
Yeah.
there's been a lot of stuff. I don't know if we even mentioned on the podcast. Did we mention Gege Akutami taking a break? I think we might have.
No, I don't think we have actually.
No.
'Cause that was-
If we didn't,
No,
Yeah.
I think that we talked about it in the filler episode.
if we did or if we didn't, if you're just tuning into this one, it's another big important thing is that one of the young mangaka, he's only 29 years old, Gege Akutami, the author of Jujutsu Kaisen, taking an extended hiatus for the time being. He said about a month or so, but I think it could be longer or short. It's up to him. But very interesting to be taking a hiatus this young and in the middle of one of the most popular series in the world right now. I would say right behind Demon Slayer, Jujutsu Kaisen is internationally the biggest and most famed series. One thing I thought about was, and I don't know about you guys, but I wonder if like the propulsion of the series like wore him out. I was trying to think about. I was like, Akutami's only 2 years older than me, and I'm like, oh my god, like he started writing Jujutsu Kaisen when he was like a little bit younger than me, and it just makes me think about if I had started writing something and got it published, and that was my day-to-day job, and then all of a sudden I went from being, normal Akutami doing my thing, making my money, to all of a sudden probably being a multi-millionaire overnight. You know what I mean? Like, he went from selling a couple 100,000 volumes every time it came out to 36 million volumes in 2021 or whatever.
Yeah.
Drastic amount of money difference suddenly. And I'm sure that the stress of like continuing your story, knowing that it went from, maybe you had hundreds of thousands of readers to all of a sudden having millions of people worldwide wanting to be engaged in your story. I'm sure that there's some sort of mental toll that's got to take on you. I don't know.
It's a lot at once.
But...
So, I mean, I'm sure, I know if that happened to me, I would freak out. Like,
yeah, and I mean,
don't know how to handle that fame.
For those of us that are caught up on the manga, the last they released a 6-page chapter, and then they released a I want to say 14-page chapter, but half of it was still sketches.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I remember whenever Togashi first started taking hiatuses, those last handful of chapters were very very sketchy. Like they weren't done. I mean, let's be honest. It's like they weren't done. And so I hope that Shonen Jump knows how to deal with, artists that need time, because if it is something physical, like with Togashi, how it's his back, like he genuinely cannot draw for extended periods,
Right.
So I hope that Shonen Jump is good at managing that sort of hiatus and making sure that the people that are creating their art are well looked after. And
yeah.
because
really can you go?
I mean, we're expecting a chapter we're expecting 18 pages every week, and that's insane.
Yeah, even
I'm really
with
happy
assistance
that
and everything, it's a lot.
Yeah,
I'm really happy that Oda has gotten into the zone of he only does 3 chapters a month instead of 4, and that's just kind of his thing. He just always gets a week off every month. And I think that's come on as I've heard that Oda wants to continue doing 4 a month, but the editors have essentially decided, hey man, you're getting old. You don't take care of yourself. You pretty much haven't taken a break ever. You've got to start taking monthly breaks, So they've kind of forced it on him to just help him with his wellness. So I think that proves that at least a little bit that Shueisha and Weekly Shonen Jump has started to take notice of the health of their creators and how that's impacting them. Because, can't be the first time that that this has come about. I'm sure in the years of this industry, people know that it's taxing to produce 20 pages of story every single week without fail, Yeah. And I can't even imagine what that must do to someone. But
and that's why
IDK.
I love weekly manga. Weekly manga are awesome. I love being able to read a new chapter every week. But monthly manga are just as good. Reading the new chapter of Vinland Saga, reading the new chapter of Platinum End, manga like that are, I enjoy them. So,
right. Yeah, a standard release schedule like this is very interesting. It's just very interesting when I really there's not really a lot to compare it to around the world that I can think of.
Comic books come out every week, but those are so withdrawn from publication. the story is already planned out and written so far in advance. Like
right. It's really plotted pretty far in advance for most comic books.
You order comic books issues a month and a half prior to release. So
right. Yeah, American comic industry is nothing like Japan's, where it's literally like they're making. But as far as I understand, most mangaka are a couple chapters ahead as well.
Yeah.
To my understanding, they actually are 2, 3, 4 chapters ahead, long before before where they are now. Hey, David, you got a little cat on you there, dude?
Yeah, he's just climbing. He's just climbing on me.
He's climbing. He's climbing.
He's climbing. Little kitty.
That's awesome. But yeah, so Akutami taking a break, probably for the better. But hopefully, it's. I mean, I'm just excited for more JJK anime. The movie got a date announcement. Jujutsu Kaisen 0 is coming out in 2021. It'll be out before the end of the year. Yeah. That's incredibly hype, honestly, because I just would have never expected that. Because on top of that, shows like Uzumaki, which were supposed to come out this year, just got delayed to 2022, which is unfortunate. But they did drop a new teaser trailer that looks wonderful. If you're a fan of Junji Ito's work, you guys should go check that out because it was a gorgeous new teaser trailer, all black and white, really cool.
I love the style that they're going with.
Yeah, I'm super impressed by it. Sheesh. Okay, we have done a lot.
There's a lot of news, a lot of catching up.
So as we start to round out the end, we're doing our weeklies, doing our thing. Still have a couple weeks left of some of the major shows that we're watching. 1 or 2 weeks left of some of these.
Right.
What are these season we just passed, guys? Spring
season
of the spring shows. And we're about to start moving into the summer shows over the next couple weeks. Summer shows don't really start till early July, give or take. So we still got some time before that starts to come up. As that's happening, Netflix decides to drop on us this beautiful bomb, right? Something that we had all been waiting for. We talked about it. The Record of Ragnarok anime decided to drop this past weekend. And this is something Kenny had been hyping us up for because he'd read the manga. He was like, Jerry, this is going to be really cool. And the trailer genuinely looked cool. We were like, oh, the trailer looks really cool. This looks like it's going to be really exciting. I'm really excited for it. So me and the boys, all of us, the Uncensored Anime Podcast, we watched Record of Ragnarok. So insert here, if you haven't watched Record of Ragnarok here, spoilers ahead. We're going to give you a wonderful review of the 12-episode first season of the Record of Ragnarok anime. So Kenny, take it away.
Well,
what is Record of Ragnarok about?
So first, I want to do a PSA, okay? I'm speaking directly to you, Netflix, okay? Take my homie Beastars out of jail. Take Shaman King out of jail.
They have dates.
And you gotta stop fucking making anime like this, where you just do not treat them the way that they should be treated. You're Netflix.
Kenny, we do have some dates. That now that you mention that, all of those shows now have release dates. By the way,
I don't care.
So,
okay,
they've been out in July, right?
They've been out. They've been out. They have been out for
a while.
Netflix.
Okay, let me just quickly give the date since we're on the topic of news and you're bringing up the jail.
For Beastars season 2.
Okay, July 15th, the entirety of Beastars season 2. What about Shaman King and Eden Zero? They both have dates too, I'm pretty sure. Shaman King it's loading.
August 9th.
Damn it. Shaman King's August 9th. And it's just the first part, I think. And then Eden Zero is
August 26th.
So, Beastars in July, Shaman King and Eden Zero in August. So that's exciting for people who are waiting for things to get out of Netflix jail. But Kenny's right.
Netflix, you are a company and a production company that does not, the bounds of what an anime or a TV show has to be are not defined. This is a show that easily could have been translated into 3 hour-and-a-half to 2 hour long full-length movies with minor cuts like characters like fucking Forsetti, who I should never hear from ever, yet we always have to cut to him, where you could have made this crazy, bombastic, unbelievable tournament arc, and yet you gave me...
I don't even remember that character.
He's the dude that was like in the building whenever Thor was like, guess I'll go kill these giants, and you cut to him every time.
We quit deep throating your mic, dude.
Okay, bro. I'm
No,
saying Netflix, you could have taken some artistic liberties with this
I have
manga.
to look up who Forsetti is.
Yeah,
Oh, Forsetti. Okay, I remember.
They could have taken some artistic liberties with this manga.
He was a big fan of Thor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
totally meaningless. I never needed to hear from him. Period. He didn't need to exist.
Forsetti, kidding?
No, he didn't need to exist.
Forsetti.
All right, so Record of Ragnarok, for those of you who haven't watched it.
Yeah,
is
okay.
a-
Record
Kenny
of
can tell
Ragnarok.
us. Kenny can tell us.
Record of Ragnarok is about the gods of Olympus are deciding to get rid of humanity, but the Valkyries, who are half human, half god, step in and declare Ragnarok, which is a 1v1, 13v13, humans versus gods tournament. First to 7 wins, either humanity gets to continue to exist for another 1,000 years, or humanity is defeated and no longer exists. And that's it. I mean, that's the whole
premise.
that's the whole plot. That's the whole plot of the show, and yet
that's what it is.
And yet somehow we kept hearing from so many fucking people just talk.
Okay, but it's not.
What?
It was all in the manga. Like
So?
all of Forsetti and all
So?
that stuff was all in the manga.
In a manga, there are panels and sizes, right? This is what I. Okay. I don't. For an anime, Forsetti has to take the whole screen. He's the only guy. In a manga, he can be a small panel next to a larger panel, right?
Mhm.
Forsetti has to be number one, center of attention, to be included in this anime, right?
Yeah, he does.
So,
Because generally, that's how anime works. They take even the smallest of panels, and that's going to fill the full screen for whatever extended period if they're going to put that on the screen, or however they
Correct.
choose to adapt or direct that scene.
And so that's why I think that a certain amount of liberty should, because this in particular is an anime about, or it's a manga about battles. The story is as straightforward as, like 3 sentences,
I would say the story is pretty much.
It's not really
Yeah.
a plot.
I mean, it's just
battles.
goofy. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just goofy.
Yeah.
There is,
And-
the whole point is for it to be a lot of battles, a lot of fun, and
And
it
learn,
just felt
learn
like-
a little bit. Learn a little bit, a little history. Like Lubu, that's a real person.
I
Yeah.
just don't know if any. I mean, like, yeah, but like, there were some liberties taken. What the fuck was the Adam backstory? Like,
oh, I love Adam.
That was all-
Adam,
I know, but like,
Adam was the best one.
I mean, they took the story from like the Bible, the idea of the snake and Adam and
Right.
Eve and the apple. Like they took that, ejected from Eden, but they really like the whole like trial. See him coming in munching on the apples. I was like, God
Yeah, bro.
damn it, dude. He was
And then
laying waste.
his
The
weapon
fucking-
was gloves, bro. Come on.
The snake was a goddamn tentacle monster on Eve, dude. I was like, God damn it, this is the most anime ass Jesus shit I've ever seen. I was like, this is some weird shit. Not only that, but this show got banned in India because Shiva is a fist fighter. That's literally the only reason. They took it off in India because Shiva's a brawler. And I was like, that's the silliest reason to make him.
Also,
don't know.
they edited some of the gore out. I think that one of the things that made the manga a little weird is that it was a little gory and a little dirty. Like there's a panel where Thor's hammer crushes Lubu's head, and it's like fucking gross and gory, and that like his head just is off his body.
Yeah.
You're talking about the final hit on Lubu?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
Thor
they
like
It kind of
He,
like
like,
cut it to like straight
Yeah.
to him just being headless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's try to break this show down because there are some things in my mind that worked about this anime and some things that just like dramatically did not work. Like disgustingly didn't work. Like that's what made this such a weird like I was telling someone else, I was like, it felt like fucking Whiplash watching this show because it was like you were just being tossed and turned around trying to get through 12 episodes of this anime and see where it landed. So let's try to break it down. Let's talk about first one of the most integral parts of any anime, art and animation. We've got to chat about art and animation for this show.
Yeah.
And I'm saying them separately because I want our viewers to realize that this show is one of the first examples where one of those was actually pretty good and the other one was dog shit. And that's like the weirdest. It was like very weird for me because generally let's talk about something like Seven Deadly Sins, right?
Mm.
If the animation suffers, the actual art suffers as well. You see lots of really, really terrible frames where the characters look very off model. It seems very rushed, very, very poorly put together. Record of Ragnarok didn't have that issue most of the time. It
seems like
fine.
Yeah.
Go, Kenny.
It just seemed like in production, all the keyframes were made great, right?
Right.
And then they were like, shit, we ran out of time. Maybe let's just not animate that one. Let's just not animate that one. Let's just not animate that one.
Legit.
Yeah.
Let's just not animate that one.
I kept saying that, dude. It was like the storyboard. It was like someone drew the keyframes for the storyboard,
Yep.
and they just didn't have the time or the money to like add in the rest of the animation.
They were like,
And
somebody make their mouths move.
Yeah, exactly. Add mouth flaps really quick so that we can at least get the lines out. And even then, sometimes the mouth flaps didn't even make it in, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I remember a very specific scene where Brunhilde or whatever, is her name Brunhilde?
Yeah.
Something like that. The main Valkyrie.
Brunhilde, yeah.
Her mouth just didn't move. She was like speaking to the little girl and there was just no mouth movement. And I was like, okay, whatever. And then I also remember, and Heimdall, I think was the name of the announcer. He was
Yes.
supposed to be Heimdall.
I know.
His mouth sometimes moved and sometimes did not. They just made executive
Yeah.
decisions where it was like, sometimes he has a mouth and sometimes he actually just doesn't have a mouth.
You
So
couldn't tell if he was,
I was like,
thinking
okay,
or
well,
speaking.
There was actually one scene that like pissed me off. It obviously seemed like they needed extra seconds in the episode where Heimdall is like sitting down and like can't get up.
Yeah.
I laughed my ass off, dude. He like made noises too.
Yes.
Like,
It was like a good 10, 15 seconds. Like, and they decided they were going to animate that.
Right,
Instead
that
of-
got four or 5 frames of animation instead of something else, right?
There's just like a lot
Why
of
would they do that?
inconsistencies. Just so many inconsistencies. 'Cause
It was just so wild.
Yeah.
There were some scenes that I thought looked genuinely really great. I remember especially in the back half, Poseidon and Kojiro had a couple shots where Kojiro would, dance with the blade, or that actually, like, genuinely the animation looked good. But yeah, it was like Whiplash. It was like you'd have a scene like that. The immediate next scene would be a still frame panning across someone's face for a whole minute, and then it would be like, and then you get like whatever happened. Am I losing you guys?
No.
Boys.
I don't think so.
No, you're good. No,
Nope,
you're
sorry.
lagging, but you're good now.
I stuttered out. I stuttered out on my side for a second. Sorry, but you guys know, yeah, like this still frame thing, and obviously the most horrendous piece of animation, the one that's going to get the most flack. If you're listening to us and you haven't gone and watched this scene yet, and/or watched the show, it was trending on Twitter. It was the conclusion, not like some random middle part. It was the conclusion, the divisive conclusion of the Zeus versus Adam fight. And it was just literally a PowerPoint slideshow as like the images like
PowerPoint
hear
transitions.
literally
Which is-
so wild. They
which
did the
is-
whole everything, but
Yeah, which was so
What?
crazy because it's the same like what we were talking about before, where like the animation in the fight before that part was good. It was some good animation.
yeah,
Like
there were some really slick moments.
Yeah.
the
So then,
second
like,
the climax comes, it's just PowerPoint. Yeah.
Right. The moment whenever
it was
you
so
feel
weird.
like, and it's because, it feels like they were like, okay, just put color in the manga, throw it onto the screen,
Yeah.
make it full size. And
And yeah,
obviously in a
I
manga,
noticed
you're
that,
not
Kenny.
going to have an animated boxing match, right? That's just not. So guess what? You're an anime. You need to make an animated boxing match. Fuck, just copy
Yeah,
literally any boxing anime.
the weird part was that seconds before, Zeus and Adam did have a punch-to-punch match that was
Yeah.
happening. Honestly, I almost wish they had just reused that clip instead of fucking the PowerPoint they put. Like, they already had animated a clip of Zeus and Adam punching at each other. Like, that looked pretty clean. And it was like seconds later you would get this, this weird shit. Absolute whiplash. Like, the show just was like, every episode was like that, where it was like, you get 2 or 3 minutes of pretty impressive framework, some nice little frames, and then 2 or 3 minutes of slow pans and single shots. and then it'd be like 2 or 3 minutes of some nice little stuff, some cool footwork, some nice blade work by Kojiro, or like some nice punches by Adam. And then it was like, okay, great, here's another slow pan across an audience that's not animated. It was just like a single image. And it's Kenny, you said it best, because I was like looking through the manga. This show just had absolutely no... It was... there was no liberty taken. They just took the image and they said, fucking color it, make it look good, and then we'll figure the animation out later. That's what it felt like. They were like, we'll just figure it out later. Just make the panel look really dope. And for a lot of moments, they just forgot to finish the animation. Right. Like, that's what it felt like.
It almost... It genuinely feels like it wasn't even storyboarded. Like, nobody sat down and thought, how am I going to translate this from manga to anime? Yeah. And instead was just like, isn't it easy to make anime? You just like color the manga, right?
Yep. Yeah. That's exactly what it felt like. So but because that it did turn out really weird, what's really weird here is that I didn't notice any drastic moments of like really bad artwork. Yeah. That was something that for me, like, for the most part, the artwork, the solid, if someone just took images from Record of Ragnarok, the anime, you'd probably find some really cool single shots from the show. Mm-hmm. And it boils down to the fact that the artwork, there was definitely some attention paid to the detail of it, but this is just a weird example of like where the show just wasn't, again, just felt like it wasn't done. It just felt like it wasn't done animation wise.
It felt like we saw like the first, not the rough draft, but like the first draft. Like we're like, this is what we're gonna sell, but it still needs to be cleaned up. It felt like we needed maybe a second draft and then a final draft. We were just about there, but we weren't quite.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
I think the one person that kind of screwed the pooch with all of this is the person that directed Record of Ragnarok.
Oh, you're gonna call him out by name, David?
I'm gonna call him out by name, just so everyone's
What
aware.
else have they directed?
Poor fool.
So they also directed. We were actually looking at this earlier today. They were like an episode director of some episodes of Full Metal Alchemist.
Really?
Some like I could name like
they've done
other like pretty well known anime, but like
they've done lots of single episodes.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they've done single episodes throughout their career, but this was their first series that they were handed. Like, they were handed like this series. Again, David might be able to find the guy's name, but this seems to be his first time doing like a full series. He's definitely a key animator, and that comes across in the fact that a lot of the key animations, which is the keyframes, they looked awesome. And it makes me wonder, as the director, he made sure all the keyframes looked good, but he was, he doesn't seem to have a lot of background work in the in-between frames, which I can't remember the word. There's like a word for that too, which a lot of like first-timer animators really work on the in-between frames, while a lot of like long-time animators work on keyframes. So it's a very interesting composition here. But yes, the director really probably deserves the most heat for what happened here, because for those that don't know, Kenny?
Yeah, because this is a directorial. Yeah, this was a directorial issue. Like straight up, it was.
For those that don't know, Masao Okubo, by the way.
Masao Okubo. So for those that don't know how kind of an animating's production cycle, in brief, generally there's a team of multiple animators that are given specific components from this scene. They're like, hey, we're working on episode 2. In episode 2, you're going to be animating 3 minutes of animation. Here are all of your sides for what you're going to be animating. And what happens is they go and they do the individual work on the animations. It can take a long time to do just a couple minutes, right? It can take a full week, 2 weeks, whatever, to just do a couple minutes of animation. They get those sides of animation back to the animation director. It's the director's job to correct, adjust, help understand, maybe get another animator to add keyframes, yada, yada. The director's job is then to help set the tone of that so that when it combines with all the other pieces of animation, it looks like one cohesive episode. That's what the director does, is they help to put all of that together. So what's occurring here in Ragnarok, while we're seeing these cuts from clean animation to sliding pans, is what's happening is the director didn't do his due diligence, most likely, to ensure that there was a cohesive thing happening here, but also that each piece and component, each animator they were working with, got everything done. Something you hear a lot about online is that a lot of animators are even recruited via Twitter literally animation studios will email animators on Twitter or message them on Twitter and be like, yo, we'll pay you X amount of money to do, some odd amount of time for an episode. So it really makes me wonder what the team of animators looked like and what the director really, there may have been disconnect there. It's also possible Graphinica, the studio, was not paying the director very much money. So maybe that was the case. And maybe they were on a really strict timeline and they just couldn't get it done. And that's something I thought about as well, is like, maybe Netflix was like, nope, if it's not in by this deadline, too bad. And so they just did what they could and turned it in as when they could. And that's another thing that comes down to production company, that comes down to like I said, Netflix could have even actually, because this is a Netflix original net animation, so Netflix was actually involved in the production of this show, as opposed to something like Shaman King or Beastars. Netflix has nothing to do with Shaman King or Beastars' production. They are just buying the license to stream those shows, right? So that's like an important difference to make here. Great Pretender, High Rise Invasion, and now Castlevania, and now this show, Record of Ragnarok, all are produced. Netflix actually puts money into the creation of these television shows, as opposed to something like Beastars or Shaman King, which was actually produced for a television station to be aired on TV in Japan, and Netflix bought the exclusive streaming rights to that show in the United States. So they're just purchasing the show and putting it out there in the US, as opposed, and they're most likely doing the subtitling and some of the behind the scenes production work on that. But
actually, Devilman
up?
Crybabies also it's a original Netflix.
There's a couple. Netflix
they hired
is a pretty
an awesome director, so
they have quite a few O&As under their belt in the last 3 or 4 years. So they've actually produced quite a few, and a couple of them have been good. A couple of them have been really bad.
And I think I think one of them was I think it was about like the 7 Deadly Sins, maybe. I think at the end the main character turned into a dragon.
Dragon's dog shit.
Dog shit.
Dragon's dog shit. We've reviewed a lot of Netflix anime here on the podcast.
We actually have,
We've done Dragon's Dogma, we've done Great Pretender, we've done High Rise Invasion. We've done Beastars. We haven't really talked about Castlevania. I know that I've watched all of it, but there's lots of great stuff that Netflix is trying to produce. Things like Ajin that I've seen already as well. There's lots of great stuff that they're attempting to produce, but it seems like these are always coming up a little short, and it always seems to boil down to a budgetary or time-related issue. And it seems like Record of Ragnarok's art and animation took that blunt force. So like we said, this was a big direction issue when it comes to art animation. The director, something was offbeat.
I do think that this manga in particular, I think that it did not need to be a standard 24-minute anime episode. I think that it would have lended itself better to like I said, hour and a half to hour 45 long, parts.
Adapt like the whole fight as an episode.
Adapt the entire fight.
Or versus, that would actually be a really cool way to stream it too. If there was like, like you could click it and it'd be like Thor versus I can't even think of who that was who he fought.
Lu Bu.
Thor versus Lu Bu, and then it's like the next down is like Adam versus Zeus, and then it's like Kojiro versus Poseidon. That'd be really cool because they could produce it one fight at a time and actually produce it and put it out.
One of the things I love about there are some things I love about Record of Ragnarok. One of the things I love is the WWE style entrances that every character makes, bro.
It's the best part.
I think that's funny, bro.
I actually had someone already tell me that was like one of the biggest turns off for them. Like,
really?
That it was too ridiculous for them. Like, that part was like, no, I don't want that. And I think it's funny because what works about this manga when I was flipping through the manga, for me, what works is the absurdity of it. They had to raise the bar of being absurd in the same way like a comedy shonen would in some ways, right? Like, it has to be so absurd because this is like an over-the-top, aggressive, bloody battle shonen that's literally about a massive tournament between gods and man. Like, it is a ridiculous concept. But yeah, I think that I think you just nailed it earlier, Kenny. Like, just no liberty was taken. This is just
it was
a
lazy.
panel for panel recreation of the manga with zero liberty taken. And unfortunately, because of some of the directorial decisions, we just I want to talk about this now, but it hurt the pacing of the story, and that's what made it a little bit of a drag at first for me. As an audience member. And it's not that like the story's there 100%. You're not missing. If you watch Record of Ragnarok the first season, you can literally like start at chapter 20 and you will have not missed a single like line. They got every single like text line, every single panel, like almost nothing was removed from Record of Ragnarok the anime. But because of that, there was just a couple moments where you got a long haul shot on a 30 seconds too long, a little bit of a linger here, a linger there, a crowd shot that lasted for a minute longer than it should have, a lot of the stuff that slowed the show's pacing down, that when you're reading the manga, you could just click, or you can, flip. It's one of those page turner type stories where it's like you're wanting to read it quickly because the story's happening so fast. And I noted that when I kind of was flipping through the manga myself, I blazed through like 3 or 4 chapters in 5-10 minutes or something. It was like super fast. Yeah. Even though the chapter's like 60 minutes long, you're just wow.
Chapter 7 is the end of Lubu. So
yeah, I think I checked. This series adapted about 20 chapters if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and it's just it's so for a show that I know that in my head like. A certain amount of liberty needed to be taken, right? Like there is a better way, especially for an anime, to tell this story because it can genuinely be exciting fights, and it sucks because we start with Thor and Lubu and they only do like 3 attacks between the two of them.
Yeah.
And so that's hard, but so much of the effort and the that go into those attacks could have been animated to the T. And I think that with Adam, that is the time where you have the chance to just animate a great fight. Like you were able to animate this amazing battle between Adam and Zeus, and they just didn't do it.
Yeah, instead they literally just colored the panels in and added a little bit of key animation on top of it, and framed it up exactly how the manga did.
And it felt like they needed to deliver a certain amount of time per episode, if that makes sense. Like
I think that unfortunately, finish your thought.
It just felt like that they intentionally put in filler seconds and minutes to hit a quota, and it feels bad whenever you notice that whenever you're watching an anime.
Well, yeah, it felt like about a 2-chapter episode pace, and they were just pretty much like, hey, we're only going to do 2 chapters an episode. And whatever we need to do to fill 2 chapters in 24 minutes, boom, that's what we're going to do. That's what it felt like. And you see that a lot when you're watching like a Weekly Shonen Jump anime like One Piece, where they're like, okay, hey, we have 1 chapter of content. How do we make this last 24 minutes or 18 minutes or whatever the runtime is normally? Yeah. And you often see that where there'll be a long drag or like a slightly longer, they can spend 20, 30 seconds showing some reaction panels, things like that, where it's like in a faster pace anime like My Hero, you're still hitting all the content, but they're able to say, okay, we can do 2 or 4 chapters this episode. Let's just go ahead and adapt it and see where we cut, and then they're able to have some more liberty there. But this series definitely felt like they said, okay, we're going to do about 2 chapters an episode. We're going to make it work, and we're just going to squeeze it in there, and we're just going to take the panels and just boop, pop them up there. But one thing I noted when I was running through the manga is that the anime really highlights... the anime could have made this one of the remember when we watched God of High School?
Yeah.
God of High School's story fucking sucks. And the only thing about, well, at least the part they adapted in the anime, it was stupid.
Yeah.
But Mappa made some fucking cool fight scenes that at least for a couple minutes, I was like, oh shit, they throwing hands, Yeah. And that's exactly what this show could have been, sort of that same spectacle where like, the Record of Ragnarok storyline is not good. I mean, like I was like, this is not good. This is goofy.
It's not really a storyline. It's just fights. Yeah. It's just like
it's hardly even a story. I mean, and that's the fun of it.
It's literally like it's like fun takes on history mixed with like a big fight scene, and that's literally what each moment is. And that's kind of the cool part. So to me, it's like this anime really didn't need to just adapt the manga. Like it should have kept to the story. I mean, that's fine, but it just had so much more opportunity. Where what Mappa did with God of High School. Throw some hands. Make it fun to watch for 2 or 3 minutes while they throw hands. And then you can do the stupid stuff, make sure all the content's there. because what we learned about God of High School also is that if you just blaze through the story, it just becomes incomprehensible.
Yeah.
So at least they could have. It needed to be a happy medium, and it sucks because like this to me highlights the weakness of the manga. You know, like when you're reading the manga version of Record of Ragnarok, it's just you're not reading it because you're stoked and you just want to see how buff and how nasty looking and how when I was flipping through it, I was like, this is just about how fucking ridiculously over the top each super move is about to be. Like okay, how hard Thor, are you really swinging? Oh, you motherfucker! Click, click.
It says,
you really laying back on it, baby.
It says finishing move right there, and then at the end, at the end it says Thor won with the Gerard Thor's hammer.
So
bro.
it certainly highlights the weakness of the plot by making this anime just like a digital PowerPoint. Like it certainly makes you go, ah, damn, like this is what we were excited about. Like, So I'm
also,
not sure.
let me ask you something, guys. This is something that has been eating away at me. If Lubu's halberd broke the Yangripnir that were Thor's gloves, that would mean that Lubu's halberd is more powerful than Thor's power. Is that not? Was that not?
Well, yeah, but all of their weapons are like imbued by Valkyries. So
they're
there's at
basically
least like
god weapons.
Yeah, they've like so maybe Lubu's OG halberd wouldn't have been able to do that, but because it was imbued by the Valkyrie, it was able to like
Sky Eater though.
But I would say yes, Kenny. I would say that does prove that Lubu Valkyrie halberd is stronger than. Yes, I'd say that is what that proves. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's just like
So
everybody's
I'll
everybody's like,
confirm.
oh, Thor's the Yangripnir wasn't protecting Thor from Mjolnir. It was protecting Mjolnir from Thor.
Oh my!
And you're
God.
like, but I was like, but Lubu just busted that glove, and Thor couldn't do that. So
shit. Okay, so we've covered art, we've covered animation, we've covered directing, we've covered pacing. Some of the key things that we wanted to chat about. So let's talk about some of the positives, some of the things that I think this anime really did well.
Yep.
And one that I've got to note is the sound. Okay, the opening and ending sucked, but the soundtrack for the show, the actual sound,
That's pretty good.
really impressively orchestrated. So I'm not sure who put that together, or who's behind the orchestration for the show, but it was really, I was really loving it. The sound, the
me too.
sound work.
Had some cameos from Bach and Beethoven.
Shit, they really
Had
did.
some Hermes playing that violin.
Threw a little bit at it. So I thought the sound work was really impressive. And for me, I don't know if you guys did this too, but I really didn't want to focus on the show, so I watched it dubbed. So I watched it in English. I assume you guys both watched it in Japanese.
Correct.
Do we have an original?
No, I just was like, I'm not going to sit here and read the screen for this one.
Also,
Because I knew how bad it was about to be, or like I knew how much of a stall it was going to be, so I wanted to be able to watch it in the background while I was doing stuff.
Was the
So I just
dub
turned it on
good? Did you like the dub?
Netflix,
Honestly, wait, Kenny, what?
Netflix fucks up, bro. Some of the character names, like whenever the cue cards would pop up that were all in Japanese, if you were watching in Japanese, sometimes the words wouldn't appear. And so I would have to switch into English for me to know who the character was.
Oh, shit.
Because the words would appear whenever they would be speaking English. Because
it was always... It always showed it in the dub.
Whenever the subtitles needed to be on, it wouldn't show the name. Like, in particular, whenever Forseti comes on screen, who is a useless character and shouldn't exist in the whole anime, but whenever he comes on screen, I didn't know who the fuck that was, and so I had to stop it, turn it in English, go back, let it play, let the name appear, and then turn it back.
Weird. That's so weird, Kenny.
I think Heimdall happened like that as well.
So strange. Okay, so yeah, I gotta say though, one good thing about a Netflix dub versus like a Funimation dub is that they don't use any of the same voice actors.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I didn't know a single English dub voice actor, and honestly, better than some of the people. I'm so used to like the standard Funimation voice actors that it was really weird to hear like a whole new English dub cast or just like people I've never heard before, and a couple of the performances were really impressive. From a dub perspective, I thought that they all did a pretty bang up job. So I got to give props to the dubbing staff on this one because they did a pretty good job. I think the most annoying voice was the little girl. I can't think of
Gull?
her name. The girl that was with Brunhilde.
Goal.
Yeah, Gull.
Gull?
She had that I don't even know how to describe it. It just gives amateur voice actor vibes to me, but it's this sort of like anime inflection that sometimes people will do when they're like voice acting in anime, and it's just like, "Wow, Brunhilde, I'm so excited to be around you, and everything's gonna be better because of it." It's this, it just feels like it's I don't know. It just feels like they've never acted a day in their life when they talk like that, and it's almost like they're trying to imitate Speed Racer or like, you know what I mean?
But Jerry, that's the same voice of my favorite character from Wonder Egg Priority.
Did you watch that dubbed?
No, I didn't watch dubbed.
Okay, yeah, I was like, all I know is that voice actress, she just gave off amateur vibes, like,
Jerry,
she spoke so much. What?
Do you know who she plays, bro?
Who else?
She plays Nessa in Pokemon Twilight Wings, bro.
Wow. Well, she did not nail. I don't know if I even know Nessa's voice in that, but this performance was not her best, in my opinion.
Oh, she's Mirko.
It's just this thing, it's like when you hear voice actors. Other than that, yeah. I think that most of the other voice actors did fine. I especially liked Zeus's voice actor. I think he did a really good job in the dub. For some reason, they gave him a British accent, or the actor was just British. But it was, really? I liked it a lot. I fucking dug it for some reason.
They gave him a British accent?
It was hard for me to tell if it was like, it kind of sounded like it was just the guy's accent. Like the voice actor just happened to be a British guy. But he nailed it. I thought he was great. I loved it. I loved every second of Zeus's English dub. I thought Brunhilde's dub actress was also not bad. She did good. She was not unbearable to listen to, and I thought she nailed most of her lines and roles. But what did you guys think about the Japanese dub or the OG dub? Or
I loved Heimdall's voice actor.
Oh yeah, I did
for real.
That voice actor was making everything just super hype, and
that's cool.
As he was announcing people, it would just be very, very cool. But Adam, it was just really cool.
God dang it,
I enjoyed it.
That's awesome. So for me, voice acting and music wise, the show still nailed it. Yeah. It did a pretty good job with it, and I think that's important to note. Again, opening and ending kind of sucked, but
little
skipped it every time.
The actor for Zeus is like the main Final Fantasy VII Sid Highwind voice. He was it.
No way.
Oh,
he was it in Cerberus, Kingdom Hearts, all of it. Yeah.
Dude, he killed it in this. He did a great job in this show. I thought he was one of my favorite performances from the dub.
Yeah. He has had some weird voice acting jobs.
Really?
He was a lot of characters in Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law.
See, okay, that's crazy you say that. I always feel like when a cartoon voice actor jumps over to do anime dubs, they're always better than these scrubs that they pick up off the street to do anime dubs. Like, I feel like there are these like anime fans that somehow stumble their way into anime dubbing, and they're fucking miserable to listen to. Like, they just can't act. But when you get someone who's like a trained cartoon voice actor who's been doing cartoon voices for years, and they step over and do some anime dubbing, they're almost always like leagues beyond, these like little scrubs. Or even, I'll admit, like, there are some people who started in anime voice acting, and they've just done it for so long at this point, they've gotten really good. One of the people I think of always is Justin Cook and Sonny Strait. They both started in anime voice acting 20, 30 years ago. I know they both were traditional actors, like stage actors. But mainly, they weren't doing anything like huge. But they have a stage or that sort of background, and then they stumbled into anime voice acting. They weren't, I think they've always been really good though. Both Sonny and Justin have been really good voice actors. So it's just weird because now they're like pulling these kids off of TikTok to like come and be voice actors at Funimation.
Wait, is that true?
And it's like, yeah, dude, they have like social media influencers and like random anime dweebs that like do. There's like a YouTuber who does voice acting now, who's like a big voice actor. He's got almost a million subs or some shit. And he has a lot of voices now. Leonhardt from that opens Pokemon cards on YouTube. He's a Funimation voice actor. It literally feels like they just pull people off the street at this point to do Funimation voices. And it's a little bit frustrating because it's like Justin Briner.
That should be you.
Hey, I'll do it if they ask. No, let me take a shot. Justin Briner is like one of the most annoying voices I've ever heard in my life. And I'm not sure how anyone can sit through an episode of My Hero dubbed because his voice is unbearable to me. And I think he's there it is. The Kenny disconnect
You
of the
pissed-
episode.
You pissed him off.
Please, we are late. We are late into this one, so definitely tag him down below where he disconnected.
Hey, I'm back.
Oh,
But
he's Deku. That's
Justin
right.
Briner, he's the voice of Deku. Easily one of the most annoying voices. He's right there with Bryce Papenbrook for me. Papenbrook and Todd Haberkorn. I'm not sure. I don't know what their background is in acting, but to me, like, their performances are always this, like, just so stale, so difficult to listen to, so lifeless. You know, like, maybe they could do better. Maybe it's the directing that's giving them such a tough job at doing those voices, but their voices are almost always miscast. I feel like they're never the right cast, but whatever. Record of Ragnarok actually nails it in that area. So great artwork, good voice work, good background music. Those are kind of the key parts that are holding Record of Ragnarok up for me. And I gotta be honest, guys.
What up?
You liked it? I liked
It's still pretty dope.
It's still pretty cool.
The story,
I'm
at the end
excited
of
for
day,
the next season.
It's stupid. The story is stupid, but all of a sudden, after 2 or 3 episodes of this, I started wanting more, and I started clicking the next one, excited for what was about to happen. And despite all of it, I was stoked. Like, oh shit! When Adam and Zeus stepped out, and we got Adam's little backstory, I was like, oh shit! Zeus gets his face punched around backwards, cracks his neck back. I was like, no,
That was
bro. There was
hype.
just slow, and then Kojiro Sasaki or whatever.
He sliced the arms off. It's like
Fucking
arm,
shit, dude.
arm,
I
and then-
loved it,
Bro.
bro.
I was like, holy
heat
shit,
to
a
the
human
moment.
one?
There was some heat happening,
was-
and all of a sudden,
Woo!
by the end of this show, I was like, oh my god, I kind of liked it.
Yeah.
The-
Yeah, bro.
like-
You want to see Hercules versus Jack the Ripper?
when they
I'm
introduced
so-
Jack the Ripper and Hercules,
Yeah.
Kitty,
you want
dude.
to see? You want
I
to
was
see?
I was mind blown. I was like,
You
want to
see Jack
I
the
looked at
Ripper
her,
versus
I was like, is that
Hercules?
Hercules? She was like, I think that's Hercules. I was like, why haven't we seen him before? She was like, I don't know. We haven't seen. All of a sudden, Hercules, and I was like, oh my fucking god!
You want to see
Oh
right
my
into Maimon
God.
versus Shiva? You want to see? You want to see?
I wanted-
Buddha
I
versus
wanted to
Zerafuka?
see. Oh, Kenny, I want to see Shiva throw hands so bad when he
Same.
was talking. I was like,
You got to see
yo,
the dude that they get to fight him is the sumo guy right into Maimon, bro.
that's crazy. And that when Zeus grabbed him on the shoulder and he was like, I got the next one or whatever. And
Yes,
she was like,
bro.
What? And he was like, I've got the next one. And Shiva was like, bro, what the fuck? He was like, I got the next. And he was like, oh yes, mouse. I was like, no, despite all of the show's fucking ridiculous faults of the shitty animation, the cuts, the voice acting, and the music, and some of these beautiful art shots that we got, was still getting me hyped up. The story, despite it being stupid and simple, was so fun and goofy and absurd that I was like, this is cool. I was like, these are fucking history characters fighting gods. I was
yeah.
like, what the fuck, bro?
It's one of those shows where you just can't take it seriously. Because if you do,
Adam,
you're going to hate it.
What was that skill he had where he could like mimic the gods? I was like, yo, Adam can fucking mimic the gods.
Adam's
he
ability
fucking-
was the coolest. It'd be like
Yeah,
it would like cut to like the
bro.
percentage, and it would like
I
match
loved
his
it.
like reaction speed. Oh, that shit was so dope.
All of a sudden, as I watched more, I just couldn't get enough. I was like, wait a second. I'm enjoying this. I'm having a good time. It's kind of got the same effect to me that High Rise Invasion had, where like, as much as High Rise Invasion had lots of it actually had very similar issues where art and animation were struggling in some areas. Pacing was really like breakneck fast, as opposed to this one, which was a little slow pacing. High Rise was the exact opposite. It was super fast paced. There's directorial decisions that were made that were just kind of piss poor. Despite all that, by the end of High Rise Invasion, I was kind of having a blast. It was super cool. It was a lot of fun. This show did the same thing to me. By the end of the 12 episodes, I was like, shit, I'm having fun. I'm enjoying this show more than like Tower of God or like, more than some of these other shows that I just hate, and this was cool and exciting. And some of the animation was actually clean as fuck, which I was like, oh fuck. Like some of the exchanges between Adam and Zeus, some of the power attacks, even Thor when he bopped the hammer off Lubu and they clashed. Like,
Yeah,
there were some really clean shots. I loved watching Lubu's fucking ankles snap. Oh my god!
Yeah, that was
and then
wild.
He dug his broken ankles into the goddamn
horse?
horse and still charged Thor, and Thor fucking mollywopped his brains out, dude. Like,
No, not even the first time. Thor knocked his arms off, and then he bit his arm off, and then tries to bite
shit,
Thor.
I forgot about because they clashed. His arms fucking exploded, and then he rips him off, and then he was like, ah, and then fucking boom, popped his head right off. There was some really cool shots in there. Some really cool shots of animation. It just sucks that it was so incomplete. Like, you know, if this show had gotten a couple more months to go back and add some definition, add some more keyframes, add a couple, you know, animation to clean it up between stuff, this would have been as hype as it should have been. And I'm not super disappointed though, is the worst part about it. I had a blast. And I don't know. I think one thing that I'm afraid of is that a lot of manga readers are going to be like, bro, if you hated the anime, you're going to love the manga. But for a lot of people who watch the anime, they probably hated it for more reasons than just the animation. They probably hated it because of other things. And what they won't realize is that the manga is the exact same thing. Like, if you didn't... So I have to give that forewarning that, you know, like, if you didn't like this anime because the story or what was happening or any of the quirky things or the fights or the characters or the fact that after they throw one punch, it's like a whole chapter of exposition. If those are the things you hated, then the manga's not going to be for you. It's the same damn thing. Like, the manga is still that same concept at work. What if your main gripe was the animation and the pacing, the manga could be for you, right? If you love the story, you love the concept, and you had a blast by the end, it might be a good thing for you to go check out the manga. Because the manga, it has some really cool artwork as well. I think the paneling is not great. Maybe I don't know if this is the author's like first piece, but some of the panel work is a little bit difficult to follow is the word I would use, and sometimes it's a little bit basic even.
But some of the double page spreads are unreal. Like,
right, some of the actual artwork is just really clean when he draws something super cool. So, but there's actually some drawings that are a little iffy. You know, sometimes side characters he kind of draws them a little off.
Cut for setting.
It's a style. But beside the point, if what you didn't like about Record of Ragnarok was that stuff, go check the manga out. If what you didn't like about Record of Ragnarok was everything else, the meat and potatoes of what Record of Ragnarok was, you're not going to like the manga. Like, you're just not going to like... It's not going to improve the experience for you. It's just the same thing. So, I would just encourage you to consider that if you watch this. But if you ended up maybe like me, and by the end of the anime, you were out of your seat, still hyped for what was happening, I have to buy the manga now. I just have to. Like, it's coming out English printed next year.
Yep.
I can't wait, honestly.
There's not even that many volumes. Like,
there's like 11
right
now.
I can't wait. Like, I can't wait to read more, honestly. Like,
and the covers are some of the coolest ones.
Yo, the covers
so
are
face to faces
dope.
are dope. Yeah.
I'm definitely going to be buying the print versions of this series. Even though it's stupid and goofy, I liked the anime so much that I have to go and buy the print series. But I'm going to give it a realistic score, guys. So don't think I'm going to boost this show just because I liked it so much. I still have to give it kind of a realistic score.
Yeah.
Kenny, David, that was my closing thoughts. Kenny, David, closing thoughts on Record of Ragnarok?
Yeah, I feel like I've already put all my opinions out there about this show.
Yeah,
I like the idea of Record of Ragnarok. I'm sad about what happened, but I still enjoyed it too. I still enjoyed watching the show.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was fun. I really wished that I really want to see the Hercules fight. I don't know if there's going to be any. I mean, they kind of cliffhanger that, you know, there will be a season 2. Lord knows when that'll come out, but I mean, I enjoyed it. So let's just give it a score.
Yeah, and I mean, on that note, David, at the end, you know, it obviously did that, and then if nobody noticed, but during this first week of it being on the platform of Netflix, it was number 9 or something, most viewed in the U.S. That might give it enough gas for Netflix to put more money into it, and you know, maybe there's a world where a season 2 comes out and it is like leagues better. You know what I mean? Like they put more money maybe this makes enough money because the buzz that the fact that it was number 9 in the U.S. kind of blew my mind. I was like, not often does anime land on that top 10 list. So that means a lot of people were watching it that maybe otherwise wouldn't have. So maybe this convinces Netflix to put a little more money into season 2, and maybe Graphinica steps it up because, you know, David and I looked at some of their past work. They've done some good work. They really have done a couple shows that are not half bad. So maybe we get lucky, and this time next year we get a season 2, and we get to see Hercules and
Jack
the Ripper fight, and maybe it's one of the, and maybe they get a new director. You know what I mean? It wouldn't surprise me if Graphinica switches directors, you know, switches things up. Maybe they get a better budget and they pump out a season 2 that looks way better than season 1 did, and then I think maybe the hype will be there. But who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I think what Kenny said earlier is the best way that they should approach it. Like the way that this whole story is structured, it would make the most sense that they just do like OVAs for each of the fights. So each fight is like an hour to hour and a half long. So that way they don't have to like, you know, make it all stretch out to be 12 episodes because that'll fix the pacing issue. Hopefully that will, they won't be lazy and they'll take some liberty with the animation.
Right.
So who knows? But yeah,
it would be super cool if they release like, you know, next year they just release like Hercules versus Jack the Ripper, and it's like 56 minutes or something, and it's just literally the chapter that starts the fight to the chapter that ends it, and then that's it, and they just animate it correctly, paced as well as, you know, paced exactly how they want it. That would be the best approach Graphinica could take, honestly, and it would be potentially very, very cool. But
I agree.
All right, boys, let's rate it. I'm going to have to be honest. Even though I enjoyed it by the end, I'm going to be upfront about my score. So on 3, guys. Okay. 3, 2, 1. All right.
I love how you said on guys. 3, and then you said 3, 2, 1, so we did it on 1.
Oh, fuck me. I'm so sorry.
It's all right.
1, 2, 3. I went with a 6 as well. I was torn. I'm kind of leaning towards a 5.5, but 6 was kind of where I landed. Kenny?
I went 5. Record of Ragnarok is a good story.
Yep.
Not a good story. It's fun, but you know, I think they dropped the ball, so
yeah.
Middle of the road.
It's got a story that is exactly what fun anime should be, but unfortunately it just didn't live up to it with the animation that could have held the story up. So you know, it could have been a 7 if they just paced it better and actually animated some scenes. This would have easily been a 7 for me. This would have been like a must watch almost.
Yeah.
So
like the main focus of the show needs to be animation, and the animation was like kind of a miss. It wasn't. It was good some parts. It wasn't. You know, it had some misses.
Honestly, let's let UFO Table animate the next one.
Say more, Kenny. No, that would be.
I mean, Mappa doesn't have enough. They can add this to their list, right?
Honestly, the one actual group that I think I would love to have seen this show go to is Madhouse. Madhouse is known for sort of the hyper violent, over the top stuff, and they've done some really beautiful animations over the years. And I think Madhouse could have knocked a show like this out of the park. They really love heavy lines, sharp lines. I think this would have been a really good show for Madhouse, but or Bones. Bones could have probably done a good job with this show too. So
actually,
another really solid
any animation company.
No, Studio Dean could not have done this show.
You don't think so? Studio Dean?
No,
not Studio Dean.
I think Studio Dean needs to keep its hands far, or Millipanese, or Leiden Films. Those would have been companies I would not have trusted with this show either. What? Toei? Nope. Toei couldn't have done this show. No.
This is too like dark.
To me, this is a Madhouse. This is a Bones. This is a Mappa. This is a, you know, this would have been one of those shows where, and you know, Graphinica, they do have a bit of a back story with some, like David and I found out they did part of Hellsing Ultimate, and to me they did a pretty good job, I'm pretty sure, on those Hellsing Ultimate episodes. So it's Graphinica at least had a bit of a track record, but you know, just a miss with who their director was, and I think a time crunch combined with budget issues made this show turn out the way it was. But whatever. Okay, boyos, we blazed through another episode. So great. You know, thanks, boys, for knocking it out. Kenny, you haven't done one in a minute. I don't know. Do you have the time to maybe unravel a shonen anime?
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think you can do that for us today? I don't know. For those of you that are new to the podcast or haven't watched a lot of our backlog, one thing that us as boys have always talked about is that shonen anime, after a length of time that it runs, it just kind of starts to, what's the word you would use, Kenny? Maybe
Unravel
a little bit? Maybe just unravel a little bit? So Kenny has taken it upon himself as the master of shonen manga, the king of shonen manga. Maybe Kenny might be the king of shonen manga. He has noted
the
many times the kami of shonen manga.
Kami-sama.
Kami-sama. Kenny, the king of shonen manga, has started to really take note of all these shonen manga that they just unravel, they just fall apart in the back half, and so we've always taken it upon ourselves to inform you all. Spoiler-filled versions of what happens to these anime and manga. So we haven't done one in, it's probably been 10 or 11 episodes since we've done one.
Quite a while.
So
it's been a cool minute.
Kenny, what are you going to unravel for us tonight? What do they need to be spoiler warned for going into tonight's Unravel?
Imagine for a second that somebody made a manga about American football.
Oh, it's your favorite.
And the main character wore an eye shield, and his number was 21. Now, whenever manga comes out week to week, you just don't think it's getting crazy. But then you look back at it as a whole, and you're like, what's going on? Now, in Eye Shield 21, in most sports anime, there's a national tournament. In Eye Shield 21, that's called the Christmas Bowl. Now, after the Christmas Bowl, do you think the show should probably still go? Because the Eye Shield 21 manga continued to run after the Christmas Bowl. After the Damon Devilbats defeated the, I believe it's the Alexanders at the Christmas Bowl, the original Eye Shield 21 who played at Notre Dame, he played for the Alexanders. They defeated him. But now they've got to go to a world tournament where the winner may make it into the NFL. The true NFL, the National Football League that exists in real life. So obviously an all-star team from Japan has to be elected. All the best players. But one player is a mummy. You don't know who it is. It's a secret player. So you're told 11, the offense and defense of the team is set up between all of the best characters from the show up to that point. But then a mummy character is introduced, and you're like, what character is that? You're like, oh, is that Agon, the dude from the Shinryuji Nagas? Is that is that his brother, the bald guy? No. It's the chameleon guy. The guy from the Chameleons, he's the mummy guy. Also, the world tournament that they're going to, the first two rounds basically do not exist. And then all of a sudden, they're just playing the Americans. And then you're like, wait a second. Why am I watching not my Damon Devilbats? Hardly even any of them. I'm pretty sure it's just Haruma and Senna. I don't even think Manta made the team. Maybe Manta did make the team. Like, that's
What
it.
about, wasn't there like
The big guy?
No, there was a guy with like a ponytail, I think, and a bit of scruff. What was that guy's name?
He's the tight end.
Yeah.
I don't remember his name, bro.
He didn't make it.
Didn't make the team. Sorry.
Oh, man.
So all your favorite characters that you've grown attached to throughout Eye Shield 21 are basically
But the main
non-existent.
spiky-headed guy made it too, right?
Senna. Yeah, Haruma did.
Senna.
Yes.
I could never think of his name. And obviously Senna, but the main, like, the blonde guy.
Yeah,
I can never
Haruma did.
remember
Yeah.
his name.
Even though he's not main quarterback either. Like where Haruma was like the tower, he's the backup quarterback. He runs like trick plays and shit. But it basically, Eye Shield 21 tore down all of your favorite characters out of the show. And then made a tournament arc of all of the best players up to that point. So a lot of players that were villains up to this point. And so it's hilarious. And then it just ends. Like you're like, we're just watching a world tournament, and then there's like a picture of them continuing to play because at the end of regulation they said there would be no overtime rules, but it's a tie, and so the players continue to play, and there's like a picture, and then it's like them in college, and it does like a small time skip, and they're all at different schools in college, and it's cool.
And that's it.
That's it. That's the end of Ice Shield. And here's the thing. Just into the Christmas Bowl. Just into the Christmas Bowl. And then do the time
original
skip.
plan.
Yeah, I actually think that one was they were told to keep writing. They said, hey, we're still serializing you. And they were like, what?
They're like,
what I hate about that is like, that happens. It's like Dragon Ball Z, right? Like,
yeah.
It's like
at the end of the Cell Saga, they wanted it to be great. They thought it was a great place to end. Toriyama did, but then he was like, they were like, no, we need more Dragon Ball Z. So he has to write Boo, and Boo then all of a sudden was like, Boo, we hate Boo, So then they cancel it, they end it finally, and I just feel like Shueisha has done that to themselves so many times of the year, where they're like, oh shit, it's at its peak, keep writing more, and then when they write more, it's like, oh, the popularity really died down. You need to cancel that, please.
Yeah.
And it's like such a bummer, dude. So yeah, Ice Shield definitely.
Yeah, Ice Shield 21 in particular is two well-respected mangakas that are currently writing great shonen are team up, the author of Dr. Stone, Riichiro Inagaki, and the artist for One Punch Man, Yusuke Murata, truly have a hidden gem, a past gem that people do not think about in Ice Shield 21, even if the end kind of unravels.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right, Kenny. Well, there you go, guys. Another episode of Unraveled, Ice Shield 21 Unraveled. One of Kenny's favorite sports manga of all time. Still to this day.
I mean, look at the art, bro. Come on.
And I loved what I saw of the anime when I was younger. I remember when I was younger, Kenny and I really liked the anime a lot, but Kenny read the manga and I didn't. Mm-hmm. So I don't even remember what even happened. I mean, I remember chunks of it, but I would have to rewatch it, honestly, to remember all the details.
It's a sports anime.
But still, yeah, it's a lot of fun. Sita is a great character, one that I really liked a lot growing up. He's kind of got those Deku vibes a little bit, like that sort of like, he makes plays, but he's also kind of a scaredy cat kind of character. But he grows a lot throughout the story. But yeah, Ice Shield 21. Okay, boys, so that's it. Thank you guys. Thank you, listeners, for tuning into another episode of the Uncensored Anime Podcast. We hope that you enjoyed today's episode, and if you did, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe down below. That's all the great stuff that if you're over here on YouTube, that's all the things you do. But if you're over on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts or on Anchor, you can hit the following button. You can rate us a 5 stars. You can do all those wonderful things. It helps to spread our podcast. If you're enjoying our conversations, make sure you do that because it helps us out. It helps more people to hear what we have to say. We really enjoy giving you guys these hot takes on anime. We love reviewing anime shows like Record of Ragnarok like we did tonight. We hope that you guys enjoy listening. We have some awesome stuff still planned. Obviously, the seasons are wrapping up, and we've already done it the last 3 seasons, so we're going to do it again. So that means we're going to do a seasonal wrap-up, go over all the shows that we finished this season and or that we've kept up with. And then we're going to follow it up with a summer 2021 anime hit list. It's our 13 shows we're going to try out. We're going to do our first episode watch and initial reactions of just one episode of each of those shows, which we've done every season. So be on the lookout. Those episodes will be coming very soon as the new shows start to come out and start to debut. And then we've obviously got some super fun stuff planned for the summer. Hopefully some more fun guests, some special episodes that won't be just reviews, but also some more anime reviews, some more anime content, some more manga content. So if you want to be involved in all that, make sure you press subscribe because it's going to be so much fun. No, but for real, we may even be, I don't know, jumping off these scenery. Cubes. We might be getting out of these squares here, guys, right? We might get out of some of these squares, do a little bit of this stuff. So we might have some stuff planned. So thank you guys so much for listening. This has been the Uncensored Anime Podcast, and we're saying peace.